this is Janie from Janie's Journals. I wanted to tell you I have been struggling with this nature journal for real. I started, making my pages, and I just kept looking at these and was not happy with them. So I decided to add some solid colors to them, but I didn't want to just, fold a piece of paper in half and stick it in there. This is the process I used in adding these kind of pages. It is just a plain colored cardstock, but I distressed it some. I tore the edges, similar sizes to these pages, and I'm feeling a little more confident with this journal now. So I'm going to show you the technique of how I did those. And then I'm going to go on and do work on a few other pages as well. Was putting a pocket on this pretty simple page, and I found this in my stash, and I remember it's probably been 6 or 7 months ago that I had made this, and I like the look of it so much for this journal that I decided I was going to make a few more, and I'm going to show you how I did them. I started with this rough newsprint paper. This one is from Pro Art. It is 12 by 18, or if you use centimeters, it's 30.48 by 45.72 centimeters, and it's the rough newsprint. So this is what I use underneath my projects, and then I will take them, and any extra paper that I have laying around, I just kind of stick it down. And this is what it turns out like, something like this. So I wanted something similar to this, but more neutral colors, because I'm afraid that the black and then the bottle caps was going to be just a little bit too much for what I want to do. So I'm going to make one. And I'm just going to use one sheet of this. That is a lot, and I know this camera is really bouncing around. I don't know why it's doing that now. And then the papers that I have, I was going for more neutral tones, which is what these are. I have two different sizes of the masking tape, and it's actually two different colors. It's hard to tell that. I have just odds and ends book pages here. I have this copy of a book page that I made, and I did it on coffee dyed paper, so I'm going to use both sides of that. This, I have some French and German paper in there, book page. I have a little Japanese. I have some, just like I said, scraps that I'm going to put down. I have a little bit of music paper. These are from Applied Optics and Optical Design. I got this book at the thrift store because I like all of the different charts and things like that that's on it. This is from an old typing book from, oh goodness, I couldn't even tell you what year it's from, but it's an old one. And then more regular book page, and just looking for anything that looks, you know, like it has some type of design to it. I also have a roll of this tape, and I did use this on here, on these. You can see right here, that strip is a piece of this. And I don't know if this is packing tape. I think that's what it is. It's the kind that you wet the back of it, and then you stick it down. And it's got little ridges in it. You can see those. There you go. You ought to be able to see that. So it's got little ridges in it, and I like that texture. I'm going to start out, first of all, I'm going to put a different mat down here. And I have in my little dish, it's just Elmer's glue, school glue, and I have a paintbrush. And then I'm also going to, once it's dry, I will be using some acrylic gesso, the white, and then I will show you how I made those. Okay, I decided I usually use a non-stick Teflon mat, and I don't have any more. I had to order some. So instead of doing that entire sheet, I tore it in half. I'm just going to do half of it at a time. So basically, what I do, well, I think I'll start with some tape. And this stuff is kind of old, so it's real sticky, but it tears easy. And I'm going to do mine, what do they call it? Vertically, because I think that whenever you tear them apart to make your tags, I think that the vertical strips look better. To me, they do. And this is for my junk journal, so that's the way I'm going to do it. So I just start off, no rhyme or reason, no pattern to it. I'm just going to put down some tape, and then I'll do a couple pieces of this bigger tape. The hard part is finding the doggone end to it. There we go. And as I'm doing the collaging, you may notice that some of this tape gets covered up, and that's fine. It's just there if I need that little spot of texture. That's what I'm putting it down for. Okay. Now I'll put down some of this, because this, you see how curly it is, and even the edges are, if you can see that, they kind of curl at the edges as well. So what I will do is put a little bit of glue on there, and then I stick this down before I do my paper, so that this has maybe just a few minutes longer to dry. So now I'm kind of getting to the point I can start filling in holes. Now I'm going to do a few pieces vertically. right now I think this is good enough. Give you just an idea. That's what I have. And I'm going to leave this to dry, and then I will come back and do the gesso on it. Now this is completely dry and ready to go. So I'm going to use, like I said, the white gesso. Now what I don't want to do is completely cover it. I want it to be only partially covered, like this, where you can still kind of see the book page and stuff through, because I think that makes a prettier print. So we're just gonna kind of scatter this around a little bit. Well, if it's gonna come out. There we go. And then I'm gonna use a spatula. And I'm sorry, this camera is bouncing and I have no idea why or how to stop it. So I'm just gonna kind of scrape this on and not, like I said, do full coverage. Whoops, I think I got more on the mat than I did on my paper. So what the gesso is going to do is kind of put the book pages more into the background, and it's also going to allow the stamp to grab hold. All right, I think that'll probably work. So I'll dry that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have got this dry, and now the next thing I want to do, because I don't want it to be quite as bright white as this is, so I have my instant coffee spray bottle here, and I have a damp brush. It's not totally wet, but I'm going to spray on some of that coffee. I'm going to move it around with this brush, and then I'm going to dry it again. And now comes the fun part. I get to stamp. And I have got a variety of different stamps. Here's what these are. I'm pretty sure these were from Amazon. That's what those look like. They're almost like branches, and then you can add your own flowers to them. I have this set, also from Amazon, and they're a little bit smaller. And then I have a ton of stamps. This is how I store my single stamps. I've got the stamps themselves here in the plastic sleeve, and then this is a representation of what's in this jacket. And I have a bunch to choose from. I've got trees, I've got leaves, I've got flowers, all kinds of stuff. So I'm just gonna pick some of these out, and I'm just gonna go to town. I guess I should explain how I'm doing this. I'm just going to stamp all over the paper, and then as I need them, I'll just tear them out. So that's my thought anyway. That's not exactly how I did the other ones. I took my paper, whoops, and I tore off a piece, and then I found a stamp that would fit on that. But this time around, I think I'm just going to do the stamping first and then the tearing later. So here are the results. And I have to say, I'm human. This one I double stamped, and I even used a stamp, what do they call those? Stamp platform with it. This one, I don't know what the deal was, but this part of my flower just would not press down. So I may have to try to use, I don't know, a real thin black marker and color that in, or maybe I'll put a tag or something across it. But here is my results, and like I said, what I will do whenever I need one of them, I'll just come in and rip it down, tear it off, and then I have my little cluster. Now these I did use an what do they call those? An edge stamp, and went around the edges. You could certainly still do that with these, but that's something I would probably do at the last minute whenever I put it on my project and see how I want it to look. But that's just how easy they are to make. And I have a whole sheet of them, and the good thing is, these that did not stamp very well, all I've lost is some of my time. It's not really that big of a deal. I do like the colored ones. I think that those turn out pretty well. I've got to get used to those stamps. I'm not used to them at all. But that is what I have got now for my nature journal. So I appreciate y'all watching, and I will catch you on the next one.